Good day, friends. New week, new project, and I have a new client in this week. He contacted me a few days ago saying he was buying a Gibson SG, or he bought a Gibson SG, but it has some problems with the fret. So he's bought it in, and he certainly does have some problems with the fret. So I'm just going to show you the guitar. It's a year 2000. It is the 250. It was made on the 251st day of that year, which was a leap year, so that would make it the 7th of September. So this guitar was made on the 7th of September, year 2000, and it was the 111th guitar that day. Great looking thing. But for the frets, and we've had a quick inspection of these frets, and it looks like somewhere down the line it's been refretted, and we do have problem frets, especially down here. There's a lot of wear, with certainly some high spots, and the guitar does not play very well at all. Now what I need to ascertain is, can we do a fret level on this? And a reprofile, which is a cheaper option, or does it need a refret? Now the problem with a refret on this is quite a few things. I like to future-proof guitars. By future-proofing, I will go with the hardest fret wire possible, and I've been using for the last 4 or 5 refrets, I've been using Sinton's Elite fret wire, which is 25% nickel silver. That's my suspicion that this is regular fret wire on here, which will make it 12% nickel silver. The last few years I've been using 18% nickel silver, which is longer lasting, harder wearing, and it gives you a lot more, you can get a lot more years out of your guitar. But the 25% lasts even longer, and that is proper future-proofing your guitar. If I use a good high fret wire, which I'm using the high stuff as well, 1.4 millimeters high, which is going to give you at least 2 fret levels somewhere down the line. So you are going to get 25% nickel silver, you're going to get a minimum of 30 years, I'm thinking. It really hard wearing. I can't say for sure, for definite, it's going to last 30 years. It could last 60 years, it could last 15, I don't know. I've not waited 15 years since I've been using it. I've only been using it this year, so we don't know about that. But I'm hoping with this just to do a fret level and a recrown. The thing is, some of these frets are pretty low to a fingerboard. We get into the realms of where a fret level may just not be possible. Certainly if I get to a height of under 0.8 millimeters, there's no way I'm going to try and recrown these frets because they'll be too low. We're too close to the fingerboard to actually rebuild that crown. Now the good thing in this guitar's favour, it has nibs on the binding, which means we don't really super crown. We don't have such a vivid crown across the frets. We are actually quite flat, not super flat, but we do have a very gentle crown, so we may get away with it. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to get the strings off, get this neck set straight, proper dead straight, and we're going to go across with fret rocker and check the frets. My area of concern is around here. They're really flat and really quite low, but if there's enough meat left on there for me to do a fret level, we will go with that, because that should give us, I don't know how heavy the player is, but it certainly give us 3 to 5 years more wear out of the frets. And we can look at doing a refret somewhere down the line. The reason I'm not reluctant at all to do a refret on this. It's just, the thing is, using the harder fret wire is, I've had to put my refretting prices up a little bit, and I'm going to start charging more for using the 25% nickel silver, because it's harder to work, it's harder to cut, and it's harder to install. And the more difficult it is, the longer it takes me to do it. So it's going to be a £25 surcharge for using 25% nickel silver. Also, with the guitar having binding, there's a surcharge anyway, because I have to actually cut the nibs and I have to precision cut the frets to the right width. Now without nibs, it's easier because we can overlap the frets, we can come over the edge and we just snip them off at the edge. But when we're working inside nibs, there's going to be another surcharge, because I have to actually precision cut not just the tang but also the fret itself. It has to be exact to the nth of a millimetre. We can't have it too narrow that it leaves a gap, or too wide that it pushes the binding out. It's got to be absolutely bang on. And you only get one go at these. Once you've got them in, you don't want to be pulling them out again. So again, that's going to be more expensive. So I would be thinking a guitar like this to be refretted with the nibs intact is going to cost you £250. Then you've got to pay for the fret wire on top, and you may need to replace the nut because you're going with a higher fret as well. So the nut will have to be replaced. It's going to take you up to £300, £325 to refret this with the nibs intact. To do a regular refret, again, it's still going to cost you 225 quid. if we cut the nibs off. You know, so it's not a cheap thing. But then again, if you're getting 30 years of frets, what is 225, 275 pounds? You know, it's nothing, is it? So, all being well, I'm going to try and get away with just skimming over these, leveling them. But we are going to be right on the cusp, right on that edge of where we can actually go with the frets. And it will not be possible to level them again afterwards. It all depends how much material we've got. I'm reluctant to go any lower than 0.8 millimeters, so I'm going to get the strings off, get the neck straight, take a measure. We're going to measure the frets in all areas. I'll get some digital calipers on there. We'll get a proper measure, see where we are. I'll also do it by eye, and we'll see where we go from there. Something else that makes us think this has been refretted is the glue residue all over the fingerboard. We've got it down this end. It looks like Titebond. And down this end we have glue, especially down these 5 frets. If you look closely enough at the edge of the frets, you will see glue residue. I'm going to hold the guitar like that. I can't. You have to zoom in if you want to get a little bit closer. But there certainly is glue residue there. But whoever if it has been refretted, no, it's my suspicion that it has been refretted. It's done a really good job of it because the frets are just right up to the binding. So whoever did refret this, if it was refretted, knows what he's doing. A really, really decent job. It's just the fret wire. Back when this was done, it's a 19-year-old guitar. It's a year 2000, like I say. Should it have had a refret by now? Possibly about 10 years ago, maybe 9 or 10 years ago. It all depends how heavy the player is. But the thing is, there is definitely glue residue there. So it's my suspicion that it has been refretted. But I do know the client told me, he says the last 2 guys have not had it refretted. Maybe the guy who had it 2 owners ago will know how good the frets were when he got them, but a bit too much faff to go and find all that out, isn't it? So I'm going to suspect it had one maybe 10 years ago. I'm not 100% on that. Another thing the owner wants, this has got 11s on, he wants 10s on there because he bends a lot. Now again, I've already mentioned that the frets only come up to the binding. I like to see frets going the full width of the neck because you can get more bend out of it. You can bend both ways, and you're not, once you get to the edge of the binding there, that's it. You're not going any further. You know, you're not on fret anymore, you're on nib. I like to see full fret. So if I was refretting this, I would suggest we remove those nibs. And then we can also go with a better crown. We can get a proper crowned fret, which again, is going to make it a better player. Something else the owner wants is, he doesn't want the strings wrapped around the stock toe piece, which we're not going to do that. We're going to do this properly, set it up properly. But what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to recommend anything right now. I'm going to get the strings off, get the neck straight, like I said, and we're going to go across. We're going to measure the frets, measure the height, and see what we can work. See what we're working with. We're also going to have to remove that glue residue, which is again is going to add a little bit to the cost. And we'll see, I can't say for definite what I'm going to do with this. We're just going to see where we are once I've got the strings off and I've got across the neck. So come back for that, and we'll see what I think. Okay, so different camera angle, better camera angle. We have a neck set straight, or as straight as I can get it, but never always perfectly straight. We've got tiniest bit of back bow at this end, so we're just going to let off the truss rod just a little, and we're going to get it as straight as we can. Tiny bit of relief there. We just need to come a smidgen on the truss rod, still a smidgen, and that has taken it out. Right, we have, that is as straight a neck as I can get. There's a tiny little bit of roll off here, but there's a tiny bit of relief, hardly measurable. Now all necks, no necks are perfectly straight, perfect. They always go up and down, undulate just a little. So what we do is we go with the least amount of gap anyway. There's a little bit of gap under there, but that is under one of the trapezoid inlays. It means inlays are gone in flat, they're not gone in curved, so you're always going to get that. Where there's an inlay, you will see a tiny little bit of light creeping through, but we're not looking at that. We're looking for the ones where there's no inlays, and we are touching wood all along the length, except for these last two here, very tiny bit. But that is what I call level. And how we check that is, we take this and just move it across one, so it's going to give us a little tiny bit, because we do have some high frets. And that is what I call straight. Now, don't forget, everyone, it's a common mistake people make, thinking that the fingerboard is the level we play to, and that is the playing surface. It's not. The playing surface is not the fingerboard. The playing surface are the frets. So more important than the neck being perfectly straight is having the frets perfectly level in a perfect straight line. So this is why we always level to the fret, not the fretboard. We just need the neck as straight as we can possibly get it, which is an nth, only ever an nth out. We always get that level and flat. But your true playing surface is the fret, so it's the frets we need to get level. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it's called a fret rocker. That's 4 lengths. That's 4 lengths for a reason, so we can always just check 3 frets. And as we come along the fingerboard, we need to turn over, so we can always check 3 frets. And the reason we do 3 is if one of the frets is high anywhere, it will rock. And what we're going to take a pen, we're going to mark each high spot. And I have another pen and a piece of paper over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to map out where the frets are high. So we will take this as fret 1, take this as fret 22, and I will be measuring 3 areas. I can do 5, but just for ease of reference right now, I'm going to go areas 1, 2 and 3. And what I call 1 is the closest to you, furthest away from me, 2 is the centre, and 3 is closest to me. So we'll have fret number 1, areas 1, 2, 3. And if I have a high spot there, I'll write it down. I'll write the fret number, then which areas have high spots. And if they have high spots along the whole length of the fret, we'll just put an X in there. So I'm not going to do that mapping yet. What I'm going to do is we're just going to go across with a fret rocker. We can remove the truss rod adjuster, like so. Again, check, because it's had time to settle a little now. We just check again. Let's get the right scale length, 24 3/4, not 25.5. Right, that's good. We're going to take a light pen, if we can find it. And I'm just going to go, I'm going to hold straight edge, and I'm just going to go behind the frets, just make sure we have no light coming through. And that's fantastic. I'm very happy with that. We're going to swap hands. I could do this for you as well, but I don't think you're going to see anything. That is a straight neck, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so now we're going to start on the frets, and we're going to hold this loose, and we're just going to look for a rock anywhere. And you certainly will hear it. Fret 2 is fine. Fret 3, that is really very high on this near side and toward the middle. Once you get to the centre, it's fine. And the far side is fine, so we're going to go, I'm going to mark all, it's just about up to the middle from the edge, and we're going to mark all of that, and we're going to do the same. Fret 4, outer edge, right over to the middle, just area 1, areas 2 and 3 are high. And we will come back and check this all again. Fret 5. It could be that these frets came unseated and they've been glued in again. No, that's not the case, I can tell. Wow. Really high. So this is why I'm having problems down this end. We've got 3 frets together, frets 3, 4 and 5. Really high spots on all 3 of those. I can see the glue residue. Fret 6, areas 1 and 2. Four frets in a row, high spots. So this certainly needs fret level and reprofile. Fret 7, all the way across. Keep checking. Definitely areas 3 and 1, almost the whole fret. So we have 5 frets in a row. good news, I've measured the height of the frets. We have, at the very least, 1 millimetre of height, even in the low areas, which means we don't have to go for a refret, we can go for a level and reprofile. Very slight rock on this one, just on this edge. So we are going to level the lot and recrown them. Fret 13, just in the middle. I've already checked this end. Oh, I've checked the whole lot. This end's not so bad, there are only a couple of high frets up this end, which is brilliant, makes it a lot easier. But they still need reprofiling anyway, recrowning, because they are a little bit flat. Fret 15, again in the middle, area 2. And like I say, once I get to levelling these, I can't do them just by spot levelling. By spot levelling, I mean we just take a file and we just do these individual frets and leave all the others. Can't do that in this, because if I remove material from this one, for instance, it also affects the relationship with these 2 frets and these 2 frets. So if I remove material from there, chances are where these are level at the moment, this could also then become high. So once we get to about 4 or 5, we've got more than 4, definitely more than 5 frets, we're going to skim across the whole lot. And we're going to level everything, and we're going to create that level playing surface on the top of the frets. Now once they've been leveled, we're going to create flat spots, and we need to recrown them again. That's where the time comes in. That's what is time consuming, and the polishing, because we're filing things and sanding things down. We're going to put scratches in there. We need to get those scratches out, so we go with a finer. I go with 6 grits of sandpaper, go from 600 through to 2000. So I do 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000 grits. And we go with a finer grit each time, and it removes more of the scratches and brings more of a shine. We don't polish to shine frets, we polish frets to remove the scratches and also to make them shine. Once that's done, I'll finish off with finest grade steel wool, superfine, which is grade 0000, and that will bring the frets up to a glass-like shine. They'll be absolutely beautiful. So we are in effect polishing each fret 7 times. 7 times 22 is it 154? I think you'll find it is. So that's 154 fret polishers. That takes time. And if we take 30 seconds per fret, 154 times 30 is 77, is it? 77 minutes. That's just on the polishing. And we spend more than 30 seconds on a fret, about a minute. So 154 minutes, what's that? 2.5 hours? Just over 2.5 hours into it. This fret, areas 2 and 3. Sorry, I was talking over that. We'll come back and we'll check that again in a second. And the last one. Doesn't really matter about the 21st one because it's only affecting this area, the last fret. So it doesn't matter if that's a millimetre higher than this one, because it's only going to affect this one. So we don't really have to level it, but we are levelling the lot. Now, let's check it. It is high, more or less all the way across. One question I've never really answered properly, or I don't recall, but what if frets 22 and 1 are wrong? See, this could actually be the case, but what we do with these is we just check that the frets are seated correctly. This was not seated that perfectly, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a radius gauge, and we're just going to check the radius on the first and last frets. And I would think, this being a Gibson, would I be right in thinking it's a 12-inch radius or a 14? I'm going to assume 12. And I'm going to check, but I'm going to check with, I've got 14 out, so it's not 14, I don't think. It's going to be 12-inch radius. And I have 12-inch radius gauge there. and we are 12-inch radius. So what I'll do is I'll stick this on the fret as best I can, get right across it, and just check that the radius is right. And that looks pretty good to me. And again, this one. And again, that looks pretty good to me. What I will do is I will take a radius beam anyway and do the levelling with a radius beam just to make sure we have that perfect radius. I do have a radius beam already probably set up. It may have sandpaper already on it. If it has, it's probably going to have 240 grit. I don't normally do frets with a levelling beam. I normally do a fingerboard. I will re-radius a fingerboard with a levelling beam. When I level frets, I normally just use a flat beam, and I just follow the radius anyway. It's not 100% foolproof, but it's pretty damn close, or pretty darn close, should I say. So we'll see what we're going to do anyway. So anyway, let's recap how many frets we have with high spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 frets. So let's go over again, just recap, make sure they are all rocking. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, wow, 9, 10. These two are really high. I'm going to make sure that they are seated correctly. You can tell by the sound. That doesn't feel seated correctly to me. I may have to get some glue in there. I may even have to replace that one. Can't see offhand if it's moving up and down. It may just not be seated right. I'm going to get some super glue in there. That one's okay. Again, a little bit dull sounding. I don't think they're moving. So we're going to go with a fret level across the whole lot, re-crown and polish, including a setup. We'd have to replace a nut, so with the setup that's going to be £100, which is going to please the owner of his guitar. I told him that's probably what we're going to expect to do. I will get flow some super glue under these frets and just get them clamped in, or clamped down, just get them glued in. A little bit of wear on some of these frets, but it's nothing to worry about. So, plenty of life in this guitar yet. Doesn't need a refret. We have enough material to work with. Again, that is going to please the owner of the guitar. So I'm going to put this one away for a few days because I have other jobs to be going on with. Something I just want to mention, jobs I don't charge for instance. I've already spent probably 90 minutes with this guitar. Researching and getting everything checked over. There's a lot of things I do off camera, like research for instance, and checking the frets. I check everything before I come to film anyway. Not all the time, but most of the time. So these are things I don't charge for. I've probably already given this guitar a good hour. So considering £100 for a complete fret level and profile, which includes a setup by the way, a complete setup. There are also some scratchy parts that need attention. I will sort those out. We'll get some switch cleaner in there, and everything will be checked, tightened and set properly. All the nuts and bolts, the intonation will be done. It'll have a full setup, so I think you're getting pretty good value. But anyway, that's it for now. My recommendation is we go with a full fret level and profile on this. I'll glue in what needs gluing in. I also have to remove some glue, so I may charge an extra hour. It depends how long that takes. I've certainly got a scrape between the frets anyway. It has been refretted because I can see where it's missed with one fret once and it's put an indentation right across the fret there, well, the fingerboard there. So this has been refretted, I believe. Anyway, that's that for now. Like I say, I'm going to get this one put away. I'm going to let the owner know what I recommend for this guitar. I'm sure he's going to okay the work. In fact, I know he's going to okay the work. And come back when we crack on with it. Welcome back to this Gibson SG, guys. The work has been okayed, as I knew it would be. Just leave it there for a second. I've got the frets all marked up. I've made sure the neck is straight. And what I've been doing while you've been away is I've been across the fingerboard with a Stanley blade, and I've scraped away all the excess glue from between the frets right up to where the frets were, and I've actually scraped the whole area on the first 5 or 6 frets here, and we've removed all the excess glue. But I've been across with the fret rocker again, and these frets are all over the place. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to spot level the frets first before I go across with a leveling beam, and to do that I'll be using my Swiss made, my Valorbe number 4 cut file. Super smooth, super sharp, and it has one perfectly flat edge, which is great for leveling frets. And so what I'm going to do is basically I'm just going to spot level. What I'm doing is I'm just filing that one fret where it's high, and once I stop getting resistance, meaning it'll mean the file sliding across more frets than one, it means I've got it level. So it's just a matter of doing this till we get no more resistance, and it is going to flat spot these frets, and we're going to have to re-crown them all again. And like I say, with having nibs, it's a little bit more difficult crowning frets. We don't crown them as much as we would normal frets. But here you go, that's the first one done. Do I have a rag anywhere? Yes, I do. Always clean the file. And I know you can't see much from where you are. I could alter the angle of the camera, couldn't I? I will do that in a moment, but just let's check the first one. Still high on this edge. Very high on this edge. If this guitar didn't have nibs, I would recommend a refret. But I know the owner is wanting to keep the nibs intact for now, so we'll go with a level for now. If he wants this refretting, like I said, I'm going to be charging a lot to work inside those nibs, because it's a lot more work, because you have to precision cut the frets. But it's a trade-off. When you have a nib guitar, the frets are flatter. Let's have a look at that one now. Just right on the edge now, it's a little bit high. And that one is done. Now I'm not going to mark it up to say which have been done, because all of them are going to need re-crowning anyway, but that one's done, the first one. That one's high in a couple of spots. So we'll just carry on, and I'm going to spot level all of these frets. Like this. Once it's done, I'll get the leveling beam out and we'll go across the whole lot. So I would say that definitely these frets at this end have been replaced, or some of them have. I know we have, because I've seen the glue. Let's have a look at this one. Still tremendously high. I'm going to go across this way with it. If someone's replaced them, why have they not levelled them? I don't get that. Again, very high frets. Concentrating just on this one fret until I get no resistance, and then I know I'll be level with the frets around it as well. That feels pretty good. Still a little high. Good thing about this file is it won't remove a stupid amount of material. Hard fretsies, but this one's almost flat to the board now. There's not a lot left there to recrown. I will recrown it. That's very good. Oh, it's very high now. File. Let me move. I'm going to move the camera because you can't really see what I'm doing. It's no good you being that far away. Just bear with me a second. I mean, what is the point of me having this fabulous new camera if you can't see what I'm doing? So you'll see there's all filings all over this fingerboard. I've not taped it up yet. There's no point because I've got to keep checking my neck for a level anyway. I'm just leveling frets one by one. Doing it this way. When you get no resistance, you know the frets are level. If you get resistance, you know it's still high. Because even though I'm filing out, these two are going to act as the balance. And I suggest what someone's done with this, they've not liked the shape of the frets when they've been filing them down, so they've left them high to look right. And that's just stupid. Right on the edge now. So I'm hoping you can see, but this fret is nearly flat. It's right down to the board there. But we're going to go across with a fret rocker and we're going to check them. You can see they are now level. Now we've got some ones that need levelling again. So we've levelled the first 5 or 6. I'm going to mark them up again, those that need doing. I can actually see where we need doing now. Mark them all off. Don't be more, that's all we need to do. Let's just check one back. That edge. We know that one's there, but this edge here as well. I'm just going to go across the ones I've already gone across. So we're looking good for the most part. That one's high there, it's already marked off. Next one should be okay, next one should be okay, which it is. That one's high. So at least now we're getting there. Those frets at that end have been replaced. That one's already marked off. This should be okay. High, high, already marked off. We'll just mark it again because the pen has rubbed off a little bit. This last one is high on each edge, like so. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left to do. So we've got flat side down. The work on this is going to come in the reprofiling or the recrowning. So high there. And you see how it works. Now good there. Tiny bit high on there. And there you go, no resistance. It means we're fine all the way down here, nice and smooth. Moving up to the next one. So we're now up to there. Wipe it all off, check the frets. And we're getting somewhere. Beautiful. Nearly done. I might as well stay on camera. Because these ones at this end don't need so much, I'm going to go across the lot. And that should more or less be the levelling done. No, still high there. I thought I might still go high there. Turn the file round, cut the opposite direction. I can feel it cutting. That's a lot better. That should be level by the way it feels. And it is. There you go, and I think we're pretty much level all the way along now. These frets are now level, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a levelling beam. Still high there, in the middle. This one's virtually flat, this one. Still high. Wow, seriously, wow. That's got to be level now. Finally, that one's level. Check one back, check one forward. And I'm not sure you can see from where you are, but this fret is virtually flat. Can you see that? I'm going to just hold the guitar up just a little. We're looking at this one, not this one, this one. No, this one, that's right. Look at it. The top of it is virtually flat. I've removed so much material from that one. So we need to get these recrowned. Now, I'm going to have to move the camera again for recrowning. But we're not finished levelling yet. I need to go across with the levelling beam. And because I already have them level, let me just zoom out. I'll explain my levelling beam to those of you who don't know what it is. So the levelling beam, it's a piece of 2x1 box section steel. This edge and this edge have been milled perfectly flat. I have 240 grit sandpaper on that side, 400 grit sandpaper on that side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark all of the frets with pen. Get one I don't use much. Don't use a green one much. So we're going to pen over all of the frets. And what we're looking to do is remove all of this pen in just a few strokes. Now what I'm going to do is I don't want to dig into the nut, so I do have a little piece of bridge. You'll see what I mean when I fix it to the guitar in a minute, to stop me clanging the nuts, because normally you'd remove a nut for this to level frets, but I created a small device which means I don't have to do that. But let's pen over all of the frets. All of the frets covered in green pen. Now what we're looking to do is remove all of this green pen just in a few strokes, and we'll know that the frets are level. Now where is that? Here it is. So I made like a little bridge, and this should come up to the top of the nut, which it just about does. And what we're going to do is we're going to tape, we'll use that, a new piece of tape. This is thick at this end, thin at this end. It's like a little bridge, like a little ramp. Now what I'm going to do is take some tape, 3M, Scotch 3M blue tape, like so. We're going to tape over there, and we're going to tape over the lot. And now when I come across, we're not going to break the nut. So what I'm going to do is tape leveling beam, going to zoom in just a little, and we're going to basically go across all of the frets. And all being well, just within a few strokes we should have all of the pen removed, meaning that the frets are level. And all of the pen bar, right at this very end here, all of the pen is removed. These frets are now all level. Beautiful, that's so simple. This has been refretted because there's glue at this end as well. I'm going to scrape off. So the whole lot has been done. Kudos to the man who refretted it, because fretting inside the nibs is really a long-winded task. Anyway, let's go across with the frets, with the fret rocker. Make sure we're all level, and they are. I'll remove the camera in a moment. I'm going to show you how we recrown the frets, and with these frets being now so low, it is a difficult process. Well, it's not super difficult, but it's not as easy as it could be. But I'm sure I'm up to the task. Something else needs doing on this guitar, the electrics need looking at. The pots are scratchy. I won't have to replace a nut because we have removed material from the frets. So the frets, if anything, are a little bit lower than the nut now, which is good news. And there you go, the frets are now level. So we're going to need to recrown them. I need to get the fingerboard all taped up for that, which I'll do after I know my dinner's out, because I've heard it being put out. So I'm going to go and get my dinner. I'm going to come back, we're going to tape up the fingerboard, and we're going to come back, we're going to crown these frets and get them ready for polishing. I've turned the guitar around just to show you where we are, and the reason I believe it's been refretted, in fact I know it's been refretted, if you look here, right up next to these frets here, there is glue residue on each side, and it looks like, when I use glue on a refret, I don't use glue to stick the frets in, I use glue as a gap filler, and I use Titebond, and this is Titebond. I can tell because of the colour, look at it, it's right there, look. Let's try and scrape some off. See it there? It's not Titebond, but it is some kind of glue. And I'm going to scrape right up. It's definitely glue. Definitely some glue residue in there. And I'm going to scrape all this off. But I'm scraping between the frets anyway, so I just want all that glue residue out of the way. So it shouldn't be there. If there's any squeeze out, you should wipe it up straight away. Watch some around refrets, because I get squeeze out, but I wipe it straight away with it. I've always got a damp cloth handy to remove the squeeze out anyway. Because I do always use tight bond on my refrets as a gap filler. But look at all this, look, this is all glue coming off, look, you see it? Yeah, I think you can. So I'm going to charge a little extra for this extra work, like I mentioned in the thingy video, the appraisal video. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all taped up. I'm going to recrown these frets. So I think you've seen all this. We're going to get right into the edge there and just scrape out all of this glue. It will look a lot better once it's all done. Yeah, it's been refretted, definitely. These flakes here, I think these are flakes of glue just on the fingerboard. It's not actually the inlays. Could be bits off the inlay, but the inlays are protruding slightly anyway. It could be glue on top of the inlays, which I suspect it probably is. It's not been wiped off. Look at that. But I think that's most of the glue gone now. Interesting. But there you go, it's looking a lot better. It's not going to hurt to scrape between the frets anyway. Quite a few luthiers do this. I don't always do it. I just normally soak some mineral oil in there, kind of move all the crap off, but scraping it's not going to harm it. We're looking a lot better. Once I've got some oil on this, it's going to look fantastic. Give it a brush, have a close look because there are still some bits I've missed. Push your back crouching over it like this, I tell you that. It's looking pretty good now. So all that glue residue is gone. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left to do. And there you go, we are all done. Couple of little bits to tidy up. but that looks a lot better. I've got a bit on the edge here on this. And I think we're good. You say that when you see another bit. And that is it, I'm quite happy with that. And there you go, so I'm now ready to get the fingerboard all taped up. I will be using 3 different widths of tape. I'm sure you've all seen me do this before. There's a lot of stuff come off that fingerboard, look at it all. Wow. But it's going to be a lot better. So I'll be taking some 3 widths of masking tape. Basically, in a quick nutshell, I'm going to tape up the edge, just so we can remove the tape later. If I just take a small 6mm piece there, line it up just under the frets, like so. You're going to get the idea. It's really simple. Just get some tape just there, just up to the top. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to tape up the whole fingerboard, like so, between the frets, like so, using 3 different widths of masking tape. Some I'll have to tear down the centre to get it to fit. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And why we're going to do this is because I'm going to be filing these frets to recrown them. And I don't want to be filing into the wood, into the fingerboard. And if I show you quickly. I'm just going to leave the frets exposed. I already know the neck is straight because I've set it straight. When I come to these areas where 1 piece is too wide and 2 pieces of this aren't wide enough, I will take a piece, I will tear it down the centre like so. I will go one side and I will overlap like so. Do you need to see that again? Do you really need to see that again? 1 piece of tape. I've not taped underneath it, I'm going to tape underneath it a little bit too late now, but that doesn't matter. There you go, rip it down. And like so. What I meant to do with this was take a 6-inch piece or so and just bring it right up to the top of the frets, all the way down the length of the neck. And this way, when I come to peel this off, it'll rip all the edges off, like so. What have we done with my tape? It's disappeared. Bear with me a second, I'll go and retrieve that. So you get the idea. Same again this side. Tape all down the side, blah blah blah. And then we'll go again. So I'm going to do the whole fingerboard like so, like this. And then we can come back and we can get these frets recrowned. Right guys, many of you have seen me do this many times, but for those of you who have not, I'm going to crown these frets. Just adjust myself here. And by crowning the frets, what I mean is where I've leveled them and they are now flat across the top, we need to rebuild that crown, which goes this way. And the reason we have a crown is we need the string to be hitting a smaller amount of the fret. If we play it across a flat fret, it's going to buzz. So we build a crown and we need minimal amount touching the string. Normally about 0.5 millimetre is pretty good, about 0.3 to 0.4 millimetres at minimum. You don't want it too sharp. And how we need to do that is we need to basically file the outside edge and the inside edge of these frets. And how we do that is there are 2 ways of doing it. And you could use a profiling file, like so. It's already got the groove built in. But I learnt to do this using a 3-cornered file, called a 3-cornered file. It's got 3 edges, plus this is a much finer file. Each edge has been smoothed or filed flat. It's, well, basically just rounded off. So that way, when we're filing, we don't dig into the wood on the fingerboard. And the reason I like to use a 3-corner file is you build the crown yourself, and as you're filing across, you angle. For instance, if I'm on the far side of the fret, as I file, I'm going to angle it toward the camera, and it's going to start building up that crown on the far side. And when I come this side, I'm going to angle it away from the camera, and it build up the crown on this side, and we will eventually rebuild that perfect crown. I will then use a profiling file to just smooth it off, remove any burrs and any unevenness caused by me doing it by hand. So how I would do that is I would take a marker pen, preferably a black one because you can see it much better. And you can see that that fret is virtually flat across the top, about 2.5 millimeters. And I'm going to build a crown, and I'm going to show you how I do it. And I'm going to do this on every single fret along the whole length of the neck. And what we always must do is make sure the file is clean every time. And it's just a matter of going across. And what I'll start to do now is I'll start to angle the file toward the camera, and I'll start rebuilding that crown. It only cuts on the forward stroke, so you can just do it on the forward stroke like so. When I come to this side, I'm going to angle the file away from the camera. The reason I've chosen this fret is it is the flattest out of the lot, and I'm going to show you how we're going to rebuild that crown. And there you go. And I'm looking for a thin black line down the centre, which I now have. And that line is about 0.3, 0.4 millimeters wide. Now I've got that line, now I want it, I've got that crown built. I'm going to take my profiling file, give it a wipe, and I'm going to finish off with this. The reason I don't want to do it with this is these frets may be too low and it may start to dig into the wood. But I'm going to finish off with this. I'm going to remove any burrs and any unevenness I've caused with the triangle file. And that is it. And I've rebuilt that crown, and it's beautiful. But there you go. So I've rebuilt that crown from that being flat. It could still do with a little bit more. Just going to go a little tiny bit more with this. But what a difference. And because we've not touched the top of the fret, it means the height has been maintained, and it means the fret should be the same height as it was before I start working on it, meaning should be getting no rock anywhere. And how's that? Go back one, go forward one, and we'll maintain that height. We've rebuilt the crown. I could still go a little bit more. I can tell looking at this by eye, I could go a little bit thinner on top. And I'm liking that. Clean the file. And that one is done. It's not finished yet. We'll need to polish that later, but that will be once all of the frets have been recrowned. We'll go and polish a lot, and that is beautiful. Check one back, nice. Check one forward, and there you go, recrowned. I'm going to do these two while we're here. These don't need so much work because you haven't had any material, hardly any material removed. So these will be a lot easier to work. Again, file, angling toward the camera, far side, or the nearest side to you. Angle it away from the camera. Nice thin black line right down the centre there. Wipe the file, ready for the next one. Profiling file. Blow away the crap. And that's another one done. We have two done. We'll check we've not removed any height from there, which we haven't. Check forward one. We can't check backwards one because it's not on the fret, it's the nut. But that is beautiful. So we have two done. Get this one done on camera while we're here. This will be the same, hardly any material to remove because we've already touched it. But there is a bit, all of these frets are a little bit flat, so we're going to be working all of them anyway. That's nice. I can tell just by looking at it from where I'm sat that that's crowned nicely. Again, clean the file. And that is beautiful. That is three done. I can feel I have a crown just by running my finger across. certainly better than they were. It's going to be fantastic muscle polish. So I have, whatever, 20 odd more to do, 18, 19 more to do. I'm going to crack on, I'm going to get them all done. Once that's done, we're going to move on to the polishing, and I will come back and show you how we go about that. So the detective in me has been out again today, and I've got the frets done on this guitar. They're all now levelled, recrowned, ready for polishing. But as I turn the guitar over, see there, all these bushings fell out. Well, 4 of them fell out. So I checked over to really, really loose. And I went to find out that they're not the right bushings. Look at these. Look at the headstock. And there's a ring around the headstock. I noticed by seeing a chip there, I thought they're not the right bushings in there. And I've got these 3 to fit. And I've got these 3 to fit by wrapping tape around them. But the problem with this is the holes here are just about 9.5 millimeters. What would that be in inches? Let's just check. I've got my calipers here. So we're going to get it inside. We're going to lock it down. And that's saying, that's not right, because I've never big of an 8.8. 9.2, so in 0.36 inches, 23/64, whatever. But these bushings here are 8.5, 8.5. So what happens with these bushings is, I'll just show you what happens. Watch that. You watching? Drop out quite easily. So what I've done is, I mean, we really need to be replaced. What I'm sad about with this guitar is the guy's only just bought it, and he bought it off someone he vaguely knows. Vaguely knows. Now, it's my feeling that whoever sold this guitar knew about these bushings, and that makes it really sad. And he also knew about these frets, and these frets, they might have been put in okay, but there's so many high ones, you know, and I've done quite a lot of work on these frets. So as the guy ripped them off, I don't know. It's going to cost the guy, I'm charging 120 quid for the work I'm doing, which is quite a lot of work, and that's with strings. I'm charging 120 quid, so for extra 120 pounds he's going to get a Gibson SG, that is a real SG. I've checked, went and checked the hardware in there, thank goodness it's real. I didn't check before. It wouldn't be it's not really my job to check, is it? You ring the guitar, you say when it's working on, I do the work, blah blah blah. But anyway, it is real Gibson, so that is a relief. The bushings, like I say, I'm just taking some, that's all I can do for now. I would replace them in the long term. I'm just taking some tape and wrapping it round and getting them to fit. It's not ideal, but it's not a bad fix. It's a good fix, and they will be stable. Certainly more stable than they were. This guitar's not stayed in tune with those bushings on, I'd guarantee that. I didn't know the bushings were wrong until they fell out. And again, how would you, unless you're closely inspecting it? I don't thoroughly inspect a guitar every single time before I work on it. And especially when I've got some tuners I've got in right now. I've already got work carrying me right into October already. But anyway. But at least this is working. So we're going to wrap a good 8 centimeters of masking tape to get it to fit. And this is how we do it. It's best to fit these while the tuners are in. And there you go. Got a good thickness of tape on there. It's just a matter of getting it in with the bushing already in it. Just, oh, that's nice and tight. And now it's not going to move or wobble. Not ideal, but not a bad fix. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. Once that's done, the frets will be ready for polishing. I'm not doing any more tonight because it is getting up to 8 PM. I've been in here 12 hours already, and I am just about done for the day. So come back in the morning. Why is that not turning off? Come back in the morning, we'll get his frets all polished up, get the guitar, get some switch cleaner in these pots and we'll get it all sorted out and we'll be back later. So there we go guys, the boring part. As you can see, got all the tuners sorted. Well, you probably not see from where you are. All the tuners are sorted, none of them are rocking. We have the neck all taped up, frets have been levelled and recrowned. I'm now going to polish the frets, and I have 6 different grits of paper, ranging from 2000, which is the smallest grit, down to 600, which is the largest. So you've got 2000, crikey, I can't separate the stuff, 1500, 1200, 1000, 600, 800 and 600. And 600 are first, the most coarse of the grades I'm going to do. So basically just straight across the fret, into the corners, over the top, and we're just polishing the frets. Like I say, I've got, is it 22 frets on these? So I've got 22 times 6, 132 polishers, plus 22 polishers with the finest grade steel wool. That's 154 polishers, so I've got a lot to go. It'll take me a while. I'm going to go with finer grits each time. This is 600 grit. Like I said, we're going to follow on with 800 grit, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. And this is going to remove all of the scratches and bring the frets up to a beautiful shine. Like I said, it's going to take me a while, so I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll come back and show you the results later. And here we are, all done with the frets. I've been across with 6 different grits of sandpaper, from 600 grit through to 2000 grit. Finished off with some steel wool, and these frets look fantastic. They're beautiful glass-like polish. You won't see it from where you are, but they are scratch free and they are beautifully shiny. They look brilliant. You're not going to tell until I remove the tape. So I'm going to go over to another bench now. I'm going to clean off the knot. We're going to remove all of the tape, clean up the guitar, and we're going to move on to the next part of the process, which will be to sort out the electrics, get rid of all the scratchy parts, and then we can get the guitar finally set up. Before I move on properly, I just want to show the frets. Now I've removed the tape, and you can see they are highly polished. They look wonderful. The neck has not been oiled yet, so it looks a bit lighter than it normally is. It still needs cleaning. I need to get the tape residue off other places as well, so still need to do a little bit of clean up, but I want to show it this way because I have the front window of the house here, and I just wanted to get those frets up close to the camera like that. And there you go, highly polished. They look wonderful. They look really, really nice. I'm going to peel off the rest of this tape, blue tape, and move my brand new edition of Viz out of the way. I have a postal subscriber to Viz. The new one came today, so I've got that to watch later, to read later. But anyway, going to be removing this tape. Now, the good thing about this, removing the tape that I use to protect the body, is I can use this again. So if I peel it off nice and carefully, this can be used again, you see, for the same job later. If I don't knacker it up like I just have done there. But I can still use a lot of that, rip off that little bit. And you know, it pays to be conscious of wasting paper and tape and stuff. This piece I could possibly use again. But most of it will just go straight in the bin. These bits that are no good, that I've ripped apart. But what a beautiful guitar it is now. It's a shame about the, what do you call them? Those grommets, not grommets. The tuning, the bushings for the tuners are all messed up. They will need replacing at some point. But they will do for now. Me putting the tape in there, they'll work for a while. It's something the owner of the guitar can sort out at a later date. It's not a difficult job to remove and replace those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all this residue. I will not be using any cleaning solution. I'll be using what we call, well, what the Americans call naphtha. We don't get naphtha in England. The closest thing we get to naphtha is Zippo lighter fluid. And that is exactly what I will use, and that will remove all the residue from the back of the neck and the fingerboard. And then I'm going to oil the fingerboard, lemon oil. It's actually not lemon oil, it's mineral oil, specially formulated for guitar necks, for rosewood, for power ferro, for ebony. Especially formulated. We call it lemon oil because they put a little bit of lemon essence in there to make it smell nice. It's not lemon oil. Pure lemon oil, if you can get such a thing, would rip your guitar to pieces. This is mineral oil, specially formulated by guitar companies. Dunlop do one, Diodario do one, PV do one. This is by a company called Kaiser. And we're squirting some of that on a bit. Treat the wood, it'll treat and clean the wood. And if you remember, I've scraped all of these frets, between all of these frets, removed all the excess glue from the last refret. It looks wonderful. It looks like a completely different guitar. It does look really, really good. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll give you an update shortly. Welcome back, fret friends. I've moved on a little bit with this SG setup. Just bear with me a second while I put my phone on charge. And what I've done is restrung the guitar. I've set the neck with at the 9th fret relief. I have 0.25 millimeters relief at the 9th fret, measurable by not straight edge. We'll take a feeler gauge, 0.25 mil there under the 9th fret, and I just want this to rock the not straight edge. And there you go. So that is set. I've set at the 12th fret, I've set the string, bottom of the string to the top of the fret. The measurement is 1.75 millimeters. On the high E, 1.5 millimeters. So we have the neck set, the strings, the guitar tuned to pitch. I've also done the intonation on the bridge. I did that off camera. I've set the pickup height, and I have a tuner in. I've got the guitar tuned to pitch, and the strings are stretched. And what I'm going to do now is we are going to lower these strings above the 1st fret. They are all high. So I'm going to take again 0.25, and at this side I want about 0.25 above the 1st fret, and it's ringing. So 0.2 would be pretty much ideal on that side. I'll take a 0.2 if I can find it. Here it is. There you go. 0.2 millimeters. We're in England. We go metric. We're not imperial like America. I don't know what it is in inches, 0.2 mil, but here you go. Just ring in. The 3rd to the next one, 2nd string, it's still a little bit high, so I'm going to take the 13 gauge nut slot file, and we're just going to carve in nice and even. We're just going to remove a little height, angling slightly back towards the tuners. Again, still a little high. Don't remove too much material, because if you cut too deep you'll be replacing the nut, and that costs you time and money. Flare wider, just a little. Just ring in, that's beautiful. On the middle ones, I'm going to go 0.25, slightly higher. The reason I go slightly higher there, then slightly higher there again, 0.3, is the strings are thicker, they give you more vibration, so you need that little bit more clearance. And 0.25 on the middle too. Fair way to go on the 3rd string, or the 17 gauge. So we'll take the 17 side. These files have 2 cuts. This is a 1746, this one's a 1026, and this one's a 1336. So 6 strings, 1046 set. So I'm going to go with the 17 here. Again, nice even strokes, don't go mental. Like I say, you cut too deep, you'll be replacing the nut. Measure this, 0.25 should be good. Still too high. I have to be careful with this 17 file because it cuts. It's a very sharp file. I know that's low enough. Perfect. Moving on to the 4th string or the D string. Again, very high. 26 gauge, going to the 26 file right there. I should zoom in, shouldn't I? Because you can't see what I'm doing here. Silly me, I meant to zoom in. How's that for you? So, 10 cut this side, 26 cut there. We're going to go with the 26. Again, nice even strokes. Then start aiming the file down toward the tuner. Flare wider, so slightly at an angle. Not quite low enough yet, just a little bit more. And I think we'll be just about there with that one. Perfect. Next one, 36. We're going to go 0.3 with these. So we're going 0.2 on these two, 0.25 there, 0.3 on these two. Fair way to go on this one. 3/6 side. Got a little bit more gung-ho at this because the file's not as sharp. But that looks to be about right. Probably still too high. It's a lot too high. We've got more cutting to do on this. Make sure we are the 36 side. This end part of the file here is sharper than here because I use this the most. I've already used this, so angling slightly back towards the tuner. Whoops. Almost there, just a little bit more, tiny bit more. That'll do. And the last one, 46, fair way to go on this one. 46 cut there. Perfect. So we've cut all of the nut slots a little deeper, nice and low above the first fret. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a final stretch of the strings. I'll zoom out again. I think you can just about see there. Just stretching the strings a little more. So we've set the relief on the neck, we've set the intonation on the saddles, we've set the string height above the 12th fret, and we've just cut the nut slots. So that's the setup just about done. We just need to stretch the strings in one final stretch, stretch them in, we tune to pitch. what we're going to do is we're going to get the guitar in the playing position in a minute. We're going to set the intonation again with the guitar in the playing position. Tune to pitch. We get the truss rod cover back on. And then we're going to get to work on the electrics. We need a bit of switch cleaner inside the pots, a couple are scratching, and that will be the guitar finished. It is my least favourite part of the job, stretching the top E string. I'm not going to go mental. That's as much as I'm going to go. Snapped another one last night. So there you go, get these files just out of the way so we don't knock or mark anything. We're going to get the guitar in the playing position, tune up, there you go. Beautiful, so the guitar is all tuned up. Everything is set correctly. We are going to plug it in a moment, test the electrics, get the scratch out of these pots, and then we can bang all the covers back on, and the guitar is ready to go. You probably can't really see from where you are, but I'm squirting some switch cleaner, Servitol, into the pots because the two volume pots are certainly scratching, and I'm going to get right inside the pot. Give it a good squirt in there. I'll try and give it a good squirt. There you go, now we're getting in there. A bit more in this one. Flip the guitar over and we're going to work these pots and just let that do its magic. What the excess is in there will evaporate eventually. I'm going to get some in the three-way. Just let that work in. And let's try it now, see where we are. Plug it into my igniter, tweaker 15. No scratching there. Working a little more. We'll give that another squirt. Right, let's see where we are. there you go, we are all done. And there we are, fret friends, we are all finished. And I'm going to try and reel off what we've done to this guitar if I can remember everything, but just pause here a minute. What a beauty this guitar is now. So let's try and recap what we've done. Well, it came in, there were dodgy frets all over the place, especially down this area. They were too high. We ummed and ahed about whether it had a refret or not. It had a refret because there's so much excess glue all over. So what I had to do is I had to level the frets, re-crown them. Then I had to scrape the complete fretboard, removing all the old glue, give it a scrape anyway to get rid of all the crap. So we've treated the fingerboard as well. We have mineral oiled it, blah, blah, blah. We've given a complete setup. The tuners had a problem. The bushings or the ferrules inside here are the wrong ones. We didn't fit, they all fell out. So as a quick fix, I've wrapped them in tape and we've got them back in. They are sturdy now, the tuners aren't moving. And the electrics were scratchy. So we've done all of that with a complete setup, sorted the electrics, sorted the tuners. The guitar has had a lot of hours, certainly more hours than I'm charging for, but that's okay. We agreed a price beforehand. I'm happy regardless. But all in all, it's all about the client, and he is going to be, his name's Alex, he is going to be so pleased with this guitar. I know it. He's already said to me from what he's seen of the guitar, he said, I'm bringing all my guitars to you. I've got many more, which is fantastic for me. As someone who's recently only just started out full-time self-employed. So here is the guitar. Gibson SG, is it a standard? I think it's a standard, I don't know. Beautiful, beautiful looking thing. All finished, ready to go. Oh yeah, I also recut the nut slots. The setup is bang on, the guitar plays superb and sounds superb. So all ready to go. So just before I do go, I'll remind you of my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I also have fretfriend.co.uk. Again, fretfriend.co.uk. Go and check that out. My name is Victor. I'm your fret friend. And until next time, as always, God bless you. Be good to each other. And I'll see you soon.